Good morning, everybody. In today's challenge accepted video, we're going to go over drawing a seashell. So I downloaded a seashell. It come right off of the internet. Let's go ahead, open up our Aspire, and let's get to work. So we're going to go create a new file. We're going to start with this one in about an 8 by 8 by 3/4. I think that's going to be about where I want to be. And for this one, I am going to put my XY datum position in the middle of the board right now while I'm drawing, and I might change that to the bottom corner when I go out to actually do my cutting. So let's get to work. Our first step is, of course, importing our picture. So we're just going to go here and grab in our shell picture. I name things pretty boring, but make it easy to find. We're just going to size this up to about right here. Now, in our shell, there's a couple of things we want to look at. We want to look at the overall shape of a shell. And if you're familiar with these, then it's easier to kind of get an idea of what we're looking at from the top view. If not, I'd recommend, in anything that you're working on, is to go on the web, look at these different shells in different orientations, so you get an idea of what they look like. Now you'll notice that when we first click on it, it looks really nice. When you deselect it, it kind of fades away. So let's click on this, right click. We're going to come down here to Appearance, and we're going to pull this Fading of Non-Selected Bitmap. And I like to pull it down to about 10 to 8%, somewhere right around there. All right, now let's go ahead and get working on our drawing. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to build the overall shape of the piece, and there are two pieces to that shape. First is going to be this shell, and then are going to be these two end pieces. So let's just start by dragging a square up about the size of everything. Now it's nature, so it's not perfectly symmetrical. So let's move this around a little bit and make this thing perfect. First, we're just going to center it. Then I'm going to use that to kind of bump the picture to where it's pretty close to where I want it. Now I'll grab my vector, bring it up here, go into my node mode. I'm just going to pull this one over a little bit, and I'm going to pull this one up. It may not be the perfectly symmetrical shell. Now this is up to you. It's your shell, so build it the way you want to. You may come back and say, I want it perfectly symmetrical. That's okay too. It's kind of whatever you want to do here. For me, I'm going to make it this way. Then if I want to, I can just mirror half of it to the other side. So either way, we're going to get a great shell with minimal work. All right. With that piece in there, that's the easy one to do. Let's use our Draw Polyline tool. We're going to come down here right to our dead center here, and I'm going to start by just clicking up the length and finding what I like for my lines. So I'm going to go to about right there, then I'm going to come all the way up here to my halfway point and park it there. Go to my node mode. I'm going to make this just a beautiful arch. Now you're going to notice that there are those little waved pieces, and we're going to make those, but we're going to do that with a 2-rail sweep. And on this side, I'm going to see, I want to bring it out and up more. We'll delete this node as unnecessary, and let's just bring this one up a little. Okay, now you'll notice it's not a perfect arch. We want it to look about there. Then we're going to change that from an arc to a Bezier, and I'm going to pull this one down till it's flat. And I'm going to pull this one in a little bit. So I kind of trace up the line about where I want to be. I'm going to bring this one up to the top of those little ribs. And that's going to be used a little later on when I cut out the actual shape. Down here on the bottom, I'm going to Bezier this. I'm going to pull it to right there, and I'm going to pull this one down to horizontal. It's going to give me a beautiful shape here. Okay, and then I'll grab it. I'm just going to mirror using this button here to the right, and that should close up that vector. Now notice again, it is not symmetrical, so I can now modify this side and build it the way I want to, which is going to be more natural versus more symmetrical. And again, this is up to you. You build your shell however you want to. And I'm going to take this side and maybe pull that out a little bit more. Get it about where I want it and say, there we go. There's our shell. Let's turn off our picture, take a look at our shape, and you can definitely see it's not symmetrical. Now this is where you make your decision. Do I want to keep it symmetrical or not? For me, I'm going to go ahead and draw a line right down the middle of it. And I'm going to get rid of everything on the left side here. Okay? and now we can make a perfectly symmetrical shell. So either way, it's totally up to you. So we'll build this one first perfectly symmetrical, and then we can modify it and change it. Now when we look at these vectors, we're going to notice that they are all open now. Okay. So we're going to select them all, come over here to our join tool, and we're just going to join them all up. Okay. Join. Now what happened here is a little iffy. That jumped together. So I'm going to change my tolerance down, and let's reselect those. Join again. Now I have my two shapes, this one here and this one here. Okay, with those two in mind, we'll turn our picture back on and we're going to work on it from here. Okay, now let's go ahead and start kind of figuring out our little ripple pattern. Now, this isn't going to be perfect, but it's going to give us a good idea of what we need to do. The pivot point for our ripple is going to be dead center there, so I'm just going to draw a line snapped to the bottom of that right there. And I'm going to go straight up, and we're going to see what we look like. Looks like we're in the bottom of a ripple, which is actually a perfect place to be. So we're going to end that line right there, hit our space bar, come back down, grab that same point, and we're going to come up into the center of the next ripple here. And what we're looking for here is a shape that we can create. We're going to do a 2-rail sweep, and it's going to come from the bottom up and back down. So let's go ahead now and build our 2-rail sweep. Our 2-rail sweep starts by just drawing a polyline. What we want to find is the distance here before we start. So we'll grab our dimensioning tool. I'm going to go with a length dimension because they're not perfectly horizontal or perfectly vertical, but instead just a length right there. Pull this up and out. It's going to say 752, so we're going to call it 7.5. It's going to be good enough. So let's draw ourselves a line. So distance in the length here, let's go distance in the x, 0.75, and there's our line, and that's all we really care about. Okay, from here, we need to decide about how high that ripple is. And if I'm looking at that and that's 3/4, that's probably about 1/8. Okay, we're going to move this up 1/8 of an inch. So we're going to take this guy, we're going to copy it and paste it. Then we're going to use our move tool, and in the y-axis, a relative move of 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and that's going to give me that distance there, which looks approximately the same as that distance, which looks approximately the same as this distance here. So I think we're going to be okay with that. The next thing we do is we're going to go to our node mode. We're going to right click and we're going to insert a midpoint, and then on that midpoint we're going to go to smooth point. I'm going to grab these 3 center lines. It's going to be the dot and the 2 handles, and I'm going to pull those straight up to there. Now I can look at this and say, you know what? This is a little wider than I'm looking at over here. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to grab my endpoint here, and I'm just going to move it out 4 hits of the arrow key to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to grab the other handle and go 4 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to look at that and say, that looks a little more like what I'm looking for here. I'm going to do 2 more on each side. 1, 2, 1, 2. And that is perfect. That's just what I'm looking for. Let's grab this guy here. This is our cross section, and we can lay it right there and get a good idea of what we're looking at here. I'm going to say that's just about perfect. Might just take it back 1. So reverse each direction once. And I think that looks a little better. Okay, let's go ahead and build our 2-rail sweep, see what it looks like. So I'm going to come down here to our modeling tool. Okay, and we're going to grab rail number 1, hold down shift, grab rail number 2, and then click use selection. That's going to assign those to what's called a drive. And then we're going to take this guy here, and we're just going to go to merge and then hit apply. And what we should have now is this kind of a cone shaped piece here. Now things I want to change is see how it stays the same height all the way. I'm going to check the box that says scale the cross section and hit apply again. Now that's kind of what I'm looking for there. So let's rename this shell wave section. There we go. And let's click on close. That gives us now our first model. And that's really about the only modeling we really need to do to this thing. We're going to take it here. We're going to go around and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 total. So 7 this direction, 7 that direction. So we can take this now here. Okay. The first thing we're going to do is just go to the left. That's going to give us those two that are next to each other. And we can see those right there. Looking great. All right, now with those two where they belong, we're just going to go around it. And let's get the angle. And this is going to be how many we want. So we're going to go to the angle dimension. And if I start right here, and I come right up to here, and I come all the way up to the center line, it's going to give me an angle. Okay? And that angle is going to be 59.8 degrees. So let's call it 60 degrees. So over 60 degrees, I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so let's grab it. We're going to do this circular copy and array. And what we want is we want to put it right down here, at this point here. So our rotation center in the X is going to be 0, and in the Y needs to be right there. Okay, so let's find out where that is. So before we do that, let's go ahead and turn off our dimensions for a moment. And let's get that point right there. So if I drag this guideline down and snap it there, okay, we can right click here and it's going to be negative 22801. Okay. So now when we select this guy, we can go to our rotation. X is 0, Y is negative 2.2801. Okay, and we are going to do 7 copies over the total angle of 60 degrees. Let's just say copy. There we are. There's our 7 copies. Now right now it looks like a big fan. That's a little bit too big, and that's okay. And they overlap a little bit. That's also actually a very good thing. Let's click on this one, delete it. Let's grab these 7, and let's just flip to the left. Right, there we go. Okay, now here is what our shape looks like right now. All right, so we've got our fan shape here, which is the first part, of course, of our shell. All right, from there, we're going to go ahead and just go to our components and turn off all of level 1. Right click on level 1, and we're going to insert a new level. It's because this is going to be all just the waves, and this now is going to be the shape of the curvature that we're trying to build here. So now on this one, it's a little different. When we look at the shell itself, we're going to notice that this is actually kind of the high point, and it fades away down to this bottom section right here. So to build this as a 2-rail sweep, it's just slightly more tricky in how we want to do it. So we want to start tall and then go small. So let's think about how we're going to build this thing, see if we can make it happen. First thing we're going to do is grab this guy here, go to our node mode, and we're just going to cut it back apart. So we're going to cut that there, and come to the top and cut that there. Now we have our 2 sections again. Just for sake of making it easier, let's move these to a new layer, and we're going to call this layer the wave. And we're going to tell it that it's invisible and not active. Okay, that'll just get it out of the way for now. Now to sweep this thing, we want to have a nice bulb here. It goes down to nothing there. So in my 3D view, the view I want to look at is my side view. And look at my right angle view right here, so I can kind of see how tall it is and how it fades down to nothing there. Okay. In my 2D view, I need to draw a couple of different cross sections. We're going to start with a nice sized circle, and we're going to go to 1 inch tall. That's going to give us a 1/2 inch right here. Okay. And on the other end, we're going to draw a line. Now the 2 nice things about both full half circles and flat lines, they don't have to be the length of what you're doing. They're going to simply be flat, which is flat if it's 1 inch long or if it's 5 feet long. And this is going to be a full half circle if it's 1/8 of an inch wide or a foot wide. It's still a full half circle. So this should make it a little easier for us to do the 2-rail sweep. So grab our 2 rails, and we're going to look at how our arrows are going. Our arrows start here and work our way around. So we're going to grab this one first, and we're going to put it right there. And then we're going to grab this one second, and we're going to put it right, let's say here. Okay, and let's just hit apply. Let's go to our shape here, Now that's maybe not quite exactly what we're after, because that's a little big and then maybe a little less. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and just kind of bring this down a little bit by playing a little bit with our shape here. Let's see what she does. Now she's looking a little better, but I still have some problems with it. I want to fix this here. I want to take this out of it. Another good way to take that out is by coming out of our 2-rail sweep for a minute, and we're just going to radius that over. So we're going to use our fillet tool, do a normal fillet, and go like a 1-inch radius. We're just going to fillet that out. See how that just radius that around a little? I'm going to clean that up. We'll see what happens if we get rid of that secondary cross section now. So grab this one here, grab this one here, 2-rail sweep, use selection, grab this guy here, put him here, this guy here, put him there, and let's apply again. Okay, now we're getting a little closer to what I want. Maybe not quite so tall. Once we have the shape, that's all we need. Now we can take this guy here, and we can go to our components, and let's see how high it is. So let's change this down. We're going to go down to about a 1/2 inch. Let's take a look at what it looks like from the right. That's going to be the shape of our shell, and that's actually about right where I want it. So let's go ahead to the top view here and see what happens when we add this to it. We're going to turn off this one so we can look at it, and we're starting to get our shell shape. The next thing I need to do, of course, is cut off all this excess. So let's do that now. It's a pretty important part of what we're going to do here. So to do that, to make it easier, we're going to turn this guy off for a minute. We're going to be selected on level 2, and we're going to go back here to our design, and we're going to create a component from the visible model. So that's going to be this button right down here. Okay, so what that does is that's going to give us that shape. So now I can turn this one off. I can select this one, hold down Shift, grab the outside shape of my shell here. We're going to need to put it back together. So grab our 2 sides, join it back together, grab our shell shape and the waves. And we're going to use this button here, which says clear area outside. It's going to delete everything off. And now we're starting to see the shape of our shell. So here we are. Our shell's starting to come together, and I'm actually really liking the colors and the shape of it. Shading looks wonderful. So our last step, of course, is to build these guys. And these guys are pretty neat. They actually have those same reeds right there. And so we're going to build that into it. We're going to array it around, and then we're just going to cut off that center section. They're much smaller, and that's okay. Let's go ahead and build those out. So we're going to maximize our 2D view again. Zoom in here. This time we're going to use this point. So let's see where we're at this point here. That's 2, 3, 6, 9, 7. That's okay. Let's turn off all of our models here for a moment, just so we don't have to look at them. And let's build our array. We're going to start right there. We're going to come down here, and I want to come beyond it because I'm going to have to make sure I'm beyond it long enough that it can come up here. If we look at that length, it's 1 3/4. So as long as I'm out here, let's go 2 inches long. There we are. That's going to be plenty long. And we're going to go one more time from there to right there. And we're going to build our little waves again. Now we already have that phenomenal cross section. We're just going to turn that layer back on. Okay, that was our wave. And let's see what happens if we just use those 2. 2-rail sweep, use selection, and let's add our wave in there and apply. See what we get here. We get a little guy there. Let's turn this off. Yeah, there he is. Looks great to me. And we're going to go around it. Now what we want to do here, we want to make sure that we overlap. Now we can grab it and do some math, or we can just hit go and see what happens. I'm kind of a hit go and see what happens guy. So 2, 3, 6, 9, 7. So let's grab our shape, go to our array, so circular array again, okay, and our rotation center is going to be 0, and 2, 3, 6, 9, 7, 2, 3, 6, 9, 7. Okay. And this time I'm going to go with, let's say 80 copies over a full 360 degrees. Let's just see what it does. Okay, so 80 copies isn't near enough. You can see that right here. So I need to go about 1, 2, 3 times that. Okay, so to do 3 times that, we're just going to Control Z. That's going to take those all away. It's going to take just a second. And if we go 80 times 3, it's 240 copies. So let's go 250. So if they overlap, we're happy. And let's do copy again. Oh, they're right there. That's about perfect. Let's see what she looks like. That's a whole lot of copies over 360 degrees, almost 1 per degree. And we're going to see a lot of these we're just going to delete off, but we do want to have it over there so we get a nice clean setup here. All right. Okay, there we are. Looks like a lot. Feels like a lot. It is a lot. So with all of those together, we're going to take them and we are just going to bake them. That's going to turn them into one component. It's going to take just a second. It's going to take those 250 and say, nope, you're just one. Okay. And as soon as it's done, then we're going to go ahead and do some trimming up work. And the trimming up, we're just going to trim around that shape there. And then we're going to build a small flare for it to lay these beads on top of. We're going to be in great shape. So grab this guy here, hold down Shift, grab our vector again like we did before, and just kill everything outside of it. It's going to be this one here. That's just going to wipe everything out. So now we have just this little shape here. And again, it's really, really small. That's what we wanted. So let's build up our 2-rail sweep here. And on this one, we're going to sweep it a little differently because I want it to come up and down and everything else. So let's grab him here. Go to our node mode. I'm going to delete off these 2 ends. And we're going to draw a flat line again. It doesn't matter how long that one is. Okay. And on the second one, we're going to copy and paste that. And on this one, we're going to go to our node mode. Okay, I'm going to insert my midpoint, smooth that again. And this time, I'm wanting these to come up because it has a little bit of a shape to it. Not a lot, but a little. So I'm going to bring this down and bring this just off of center. Just have kind of a little wave. Right, now to build this one, grab this line. We're going to grab this line. Okay. Go to our 2-rail sweep. Use our selection. We're going to start with our wave. Okay. We're going to end with our wave. And in the middle, we're going to grab this guy and put him dead centered. Let's apply him. Okay, we get kind of a cool little shape there for it to sit underneath. And now let's go ahead and put this section onto it. So here, go to our components. We're going to insert another new level. We're going to take these 2. This is the bottom portion of our shell. Okay. And we're going to take this one and make it a combined mode merge. I'm just going to disappear it behind there. Our shell looks just about perfect now. We have the ribbing here. We have the big waves here. Let's take a look at our picture. Let's just move that off center. And there's our shell. I hope that you guys have had a good time today watching this with me. If you have any questions, definitely give me a phone call or write a question in the comments below. That helps the algorithm. It also helps other people see it. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Be nice to each other, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.